Let's bring in Gene Munster, managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management. First of all, Gene, any reaction to ChatGPT's advertisement plans here?
Yeah, Kelly, I'm trying to always figure out who's the winner and who's the loser in this. And like, is this bad for Google? I think Google is going to do well in 2026. But my first reaction was around figuring out the winner and the loser. And I think that this can be one of those rare cases when both companies can win. Both companies can have massive businesses, advertising businesses within AI, agentic commerce. And the reason why is that consumer behavior is changing. Essentially, what we've seen from Google's results over the past 6 months is that people talk about those 800 million monthly active OpenAI users, 2.5 billion search users. These people are having a better understanding. They can find out more by using a chat bot or search. And so if you're going to put a matrix together in terms of time spent, I haven't done this, but if you look at just where we spend our time throughout the day, that piece where we're searching for information, whether through traditional Google search or through a bot, is increasing. And so I think this is a case where companies like OpenAI and Google are both winners. It's going to be a fun storyline and I'm sure create some wonderful debate, but I think they're both going to win.
Look, your point intuitively makes sense because we're so early on. Just this morning, I asked it what earrings I should wear with this dress, actually. I took a picture of the dress and a picture of the jewelry box.
I like it.
And I disagreed with its choice, but it made, you should have seen the chaos of this, spread. And it was able to identify, it said, oh, I think you should wear the gold hoops. And nah, too boring. Anyway, so if that's all the case, and you mentioned that the AI trade has passed 2 hurdles and that it seems to still this tide be lifting all boats here. I mean, there are some firms like your Denny Research, which have underweighted certainly the Mag 7. What do you think is the third hurdle this year? And are you sticking with tech broadly or more specifically?
So I think that the third hurdle, I guess, coming up more recently. Of course, we had the good news from TSMC. We had the good commentary from NVIDIA at CES. But the third is going to be about CapEx guidance. Just a quick view on that. It was 30% growth is what the hyperscalers, analysts were expecting hyperscalers to grow in 2026, 30% growth. That was the expectation a few weeks ago. That's now inched up to 34%, and so that's moving higher. That's the next hurdle, of course, at the end of this month. But just a couple quick thoughts. First, in terms of the kind of what's going on, the bigger picture, why I think that we'll get good news later this month. I think those CapEx numbers are going to be probably plus 40%. Is investors are making a fundamental mistake when they think about this AI infrastructure build out. The conversation is wrapped around the idea of infrastructure for training. And the reality is that the inference market, Jensen talks about this, but we have an affiliate company, Intelligent Alpha, which uses a lot of these models. We see how long these models are thinking. That inference market last year in 2025 was 5 times as big as the training market.
Right.
Over time, this could be hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of times bigger. So this party is going to continue longer as far as kind of the small versus large cap piece. I made a prediction earlier, stand by it, this is back in December, that small cap's going to outperform. We have an ETF, LOUP, which focuses on those small cap. You saw it this week, AMD up 14% on that TSMC news.
And why is that? Why is that? Just because the gains have kind of run their course for the big guys?
That's one piece to it. But if you just look at, if you're a believer, ultimately it comes down to, do you believe that this infrastructure piece, it comes back to that inference? If you believe that that's the case, just mathematically, these smaller companies should have higher, greater earnings revisions. And so still a big believer. I think Apple's going to be a wonderful performer in the first half of the year, Google for the year. But I think this small cap trade, it happened last year. I think it's going to continue throughout this year.